Hi guys, welcome back. Chris here, and I'm coming to you from Ho Chi Minh City. You might be wondering, if you've been following along, why didn't you post a video last month? Well, last month I decided to leave Taiwan, and I've been traveling around Europe, and then I went to Bangkok, and then I came to Ho Chi Minh City for a month because I came here in July and I thought it was really cool. So I wanted to spend more time here and maybe consider it as a place to stay long term, but I think 1 month has been enough. Really great place, but heading back to Taipei on Sunday, and then in December I'm gonna go to Japan for 3 months. All right, so first things first, let's look at the old stats. Somebody was asking on a video the other day about my decks, and here are my current decks. So I do the JLabs beginner in the morning, and this is just to keep me familiar with grammar. I use easy and again buttons. I don't judge myself or rate myself on if I know the vocabulary or not, although I generally do because it's easier than my current main deck. And yeah, it's just to keep me familiar with more structured grammar sentences. So for those who don't know, the JLabs deck, yeah, you go to the Anki Share decks, type in Tai Kim, and he's used the Tai Kim grammar guide to create a deck using the sentences from the guide that appear also in anime shows, and made a whole deck out of that. It's actually pure genius. So I also went ahead and I joined his Patreon so I could download his intermediate decks as well. And these little dates here that I've put on, this is when I will finish. So I started technically this mission on July 17th, 2023. And 18 months from there would be January 17th, but because of what happened on my trip, and what happened is I didn't do any damn reps, I've pushed it forward a month. So this is also why this video has come 2 months later, because last month I didn't really do anything. So these are my decks. I should finish February 24th, finish this one November 1st, then I'll do this one, and then this deck is gonna take me into April. So I'm not gonna finish studying, on this date. I get the feeling I'm gonna have to kind of keep going, but I'm still excited about hitting that 10,000 word point in that 18-month mark. So let's go into the stats. Haven't studied today yet. You can see I'm averaging about 500 reviews a day. But an interesting thing has happened is that it's starting to take less time, or the same time. So here you can see like 77 days ago, 694 reviews. So this is including cards I get wrong. And now it's like going down. So I know for a fact here that I had more cards than I do. I had less cards than I do, but I was worse at remembering, and I was slower at remembering. So each card I remember back here would take me around about 10 or 11 seconds, and I had about, I don't know, 450 or so reviews, but in total, after my failures and everything, it seemed to be up around 650. Now it's taking me about 7 or 8 seconds to get through a card. So even though I had more cards, it was actually taking me less time. And now I'm getting better at reviews. So each session now, we're over here, I think I was averaging about 1.5 to 1.6 hours. And now I'm like 1.3 hours average. So I'm getting through cards faster. I've got about the same amount, and I just feel like things have gotten easier. Now you're probably looking at this disaster here. So this is my holiday. This is when I went to Japan, and I didn't do any reps for a few days, and then I did, oh my God, I did 1,291 reviews. I remember that day, I think it was a Sunday, and I just didn't do anything for the whole day except reviews and try to stop my brain from melting. But then I did it around here 46 days ago. Yeah, I guess I tried to do reviews in Europe a little bit, but just ended up not doing anything. And then 35 days ago in Thailand, I maybe made an effort. I think I was just trying to get through as many reviews as possible, but I remember at one point I had 2,600 cards, and it took me about 20 days, because at some point I decided, like, okay, I'm just gonna do as many as I can, because I was out having fun basically every night. So, but then in the morning I'd be like over here I was like, oh, screw it, if I can't finish my reps, I'm not even gonna do a single one, which is not the right attitude. And then around here I'm like, okay, let me do like 100 reps or like 50, let me just do something. And then I started chipping away. Here I took another break because I think I met a friend of mine. This was Europe, and this was Thailand and Vietnam a little bit. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna catch up. And then these 4 days here are just insanity. My brain completely melted, and I was doing like probably 800 reviews a day. What is this one? 667. Okay, that's not that bad. But then I did 900, and then I did 1400, and then I did almost 1347. That's not fun. A lesson straight off the bat. If you go traveling, or if you realize that you're not going to do any reps, just do as many as you can. Even if you have like 1,000 reviews, if you can get it down to 900, it's going to go back up anyway, and you're going to have to do them anyway in the future. So you may as well just knock it down to 900 and then let it pop back up, and then knock it down to 1,200 and it'll pop up to 1,400 maybe. It's better than just leaving it till you have 2,600 reviews like I did. But you can see here, I'm back in the game. It got a little bit harder. Obviously, I'd forgotten some things, so it got a little bit high as I was re-reviewing difficult ones from here. And then it slowly just gotten down, and now I'm back to kind of cruising along, taking me about an hour, 0.3 per day, and reps are easier. So those are the stats. My total cards now 7,100, just about. So I'm at the same amount that BritvsJapan was at his 12-month mark. So I'm kind of 2 months behind. But I'm doing 22 new cards a day, and it should get me to 10,000 just about by the 18-month mark. And I think 22 is a decent number. My percentages are around about 60 if you just judge on this. But to be honest, every day when I do my reps, I've started getting much higher scores. So my repeated cards will be at recently about 10 to 15%. So sometimes I'm at 90% correct out of 500 cards. And then my old cards are the same. I'll get about 90 to 95% of my very old cards. Unfortunately, the stats are not here, but when you finish your reps, it shows you the stats. So I don't think this is something you should really fully go by. If you just go by this, it'll say that I'm on like 60% retention. But what it really means is 60% mature, if you take away the new cards. And mature doesn't equal full-blown retention in and of its own. If I know that every day I'm getting 10% wrong, consistently every day over the course of before this big holiday, it was I was getting about 80% right. If that's happening consistently, then that means that a lot of the young cards, which haven't hit that 21-day mark yet, I pretty much know as well. So you got to look at all the stats and figure out your retention. This one I like to look at card retrievability. So this is the chance that you will get it. Now this seems more accurate to what I see every day when I look at my end of day stats. This seems more fitting. So the probability of recalling a card today, the vast majority has an 80 to 85% chance. So also I do 2 decks. I do have my Tai Kim deck as well. So I do think I am probably closer to 75-80% of all the cards, knowing them. But those are my stats anyway. So going into my level. Speaking, I find myself talking to myself a little bit more, but still not a priority. I think when I go to Japan, I'll get like a couple of, I think what I might get is like some tutor to just sit with me in a cafe and like chat to me, and the only requirement I'll have is like, can you lead the conversation? Somebody posted yesterday on my on one of my videos, can you make a Japanese speaking video every month as well, so we can see how your Japanese level goes up? It's not a bad idea, but I honestly think it would just be a mess. When I read that message, I woke up and I read that message and I was like lying in bed and I started just trying to riff in Japanese, and it's just wasn't happening. So my speaking, again, is still really non-existent, although I do chat a little bit to myself a bit more, but still not the priority. Listening, this was the big thing in my last video. I felt like I turned a corner, and listening, I can feel the improvement. It's really hard to describe. Like when I listen to something, I'm like, I remember I've used this sort of scale before, right? I didn't invent this. It's like you understand nothing, you understand a few words, you understand a few sentences, and then you understand everything except a few sentences. You understand everything except a few words, and then you understand everything. I think 2 months ago, I was like crossing the line into I know everything except a few sentences. And now I think I'm like more into that. Sometimes I'll know everything except a few words, and sometimes I'll know everything. But I think I'm definitely crossing that line, or I've crossed that line in a lot of instances. And that's not coming from stuff that I watched on repeat, like stuff that I've sentence mined and gone back. If I do that, I probably get a lot. This is from random podcasts that are not super difficult, but stuff I listen to randomly. That's what I'm basing that off. Yeah, it's tough to judge my level, but I understand more and more, and I can feel my improvement more, if that makes sense. I can hear words clearly. I can listen to someone talking in natural speed, and if they say something that I don't know, I can identify that word. And that's a really good level to get to, because now I can watch content and, you know, be like, oh, what's that word? And like repeat it and type it in and then throw it in the Anki deck. I don't think I could do that before. When someone spoke, it was kind of like a blur. I can sort of envision now how the improvement happens. And it's really just through familiarity, and so I'm quite happy with that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where I am. What is it now, month 14, in 4 more months, because I think progress is actually exponential. I feel like big improvements probably happen towards the end, and looking at other people's videos, that seems to happen as well. Again, if you look at BritvsJapan, on his 12-month video, he was at the same amount of sentences as me, and he was like, he understood a lot. It's difficult to gauge what that really means though. I think he said he understood 90 to 95% of stuff, which I find, if you only have 7,100 words, it depends what you're watching, I suppose. It depends what you're watching. But if you have 7,100 words, that's not 95% of language, is it? I don't know. But I don't know if I would say I understand 90 to 95% of what I watch. I would say, though, it's a solid 60 to 60, maybe a solid 65, and that's 65, 70, I would say. But things are getting better, and I feel like progress towards the end now is getting exponential, which is good. In the beginning, I just remember or even in the first 12 months, I just felt kind of like, man, when am I gonna feel like I'm improving? And I remember I read on a blog somewhere that it happens around about the 5,000 word mark. If you're doing immersion and doing flashcards, then around about the 5,000 mature cards or 5,000 word mark, you kind of get to the point where you can semi-enjoy watching stuff. And I'm definitely at that point. So I am semi-enjoying stuff. But still, the average show that I watch, I do still need to save sometimes about 60 sentences. And I'm currently at a total of 8,790 words. So to 10,000, you know, we've got like 1,210 left. So I don't know, I feel like I'll still be saving more words. I don't think 10,000 is going to be this magic number. As for reading, I did buy this Ready Player One. a couple months ago at the recommendation of BritvsJapan, and I tried to read it and it was just so slow that I kind of gave up. So I'll probably pick this up again maybe when I'm in Japan, maybe after another month. Not really trying to read. My reading comes from my Anki reps and watching stuff with subtitles. And when I feel like I can do that really comfortably, and I can sort of watch entire shows without mining over 10 words in 30 minutes, then maybe I'll pick up a book. But it's just kind of not fun for me and kind of frustrating if I pick up a book and I start reading it and I'm like, don't know that word, don't know, you know, that's not fun. I've stopped watching anime because I just wanted to switch things up, and I got a Netflix account and I got a NordVPN account, and I connected to NordVPN and then went to Netflix.com and it switches to Netflix Japan, and now I have Netflix Japan account and I've been watching Netflix. So the show I watched first was Midnight Diner, first season. That was great. Real people in I wouldn't say an izakaya, but sort of like this small little restaurant, and they're just chatting, and you know, there'll be a bit of drama and people are talking to each other, and it's different from watching anime. It's more real, and I think I prefer this, and I think I'm just going to start watching real people talk for a while. I mean, that's obviously going to be more helpful and more applicable, right? Podcasts, still going with podcasts. I'm starting to listen to a lot more Layla Bite-Sized Japanese. Before, for some reason, whenever I put her podcasts on, even though it's apparently supposed to be easy, I just felt a bit lost. But now I don't, which means I've shown improvement. And what else am I listening to? Let me just check out I've been listening to the Easy Japanese podcast, which is two hosts, male and female, and they chat to each other, and that's been good too. And I also the Hanashi Kata no Hanashi, which is another one recommended by BritvsJapan. She's like a voice coach for business or something, and if you go to his videos, that's one he recommended, but I thought it was too hard. But now I don't find it too hard, so I like listening to that. So those three I've been listening to. What's this other one? Watanabe Fufu. That was another one he recommended that I listen to sometimes. It's just a couple chatting. What else do I have here? Mame Mame Kyasto. If you want podcasts, go to my community posts, and I've put in 52 podcasts there that you can, you know, explore on your own. YouTube as well. My entire account now, my entire list of subscriptions are also Japanese. So when I open YouTube now, I don't have any choice but to watch Japanese. And that was just putting a control in place to ensure immersion, because I can sometimes get lazy. I did the same with Instagram. I unfollowed a lot of people in English that I used to find interesting and enjoy their content, but I'm just doing it for a couple more months. And so now everybody I follow outside of personal friends are Japanese channels. So if you want to see who I follow, my Instagram's in the description, and you can go to my followers list and just follow all those people as well. And follow me if you want. I do have little bits of micro content there. One of my highlights is about this AJATT mission, and I post bits and bobs in there as well. My routine, again, it's really just the same. I wake up, I do my JLabs deck real quick using again and easy, just to keep myself familiar with grammar. And I'm going to be doing that until April 19th with his intermediate decks after that, because those decks are just so cool. I mean, it's anime scene, so you're getting listening comprehension and everything. I might do those decks normally, like the intermediate ones. I might do them using again and good, like I'm doing with my main deck. I might. I don't want to get too bogged down with reviews, but I'll think about it. So I do that, and that takes about 5 minutes. Coffee, gym. When I'm at the gym, I'm listening to podcasts. When I get home, I'm listening to podcasts. I'll eat post-workout, watch something on YouTube, and then I'll work while listening to podcasts. and then I'll do my reps, which I guess is immersion, because now all my cards come from Migaku and Netflix and Animaleon, so they're all listening and reading. Then I'll listen some more, and then I will do my like mining immersion, where I'll put on a show on Netflix now, and I'll watch it and I'll mine the entire episode. And sometimes I'll mine 20 words, sometimes I'll mine 70. I think my upper limit is around about 70. I don't think I go over 70. And that used to be really hard and strenuous at the beginning, but now it's getting a bit faster and getting a bit more fun. One thing I do on Migaku is I save every unknown word, which is not what it recommends. It only recommends saving the words that it actually pops up with like 4 stars or 3 stars. But it's my OCD, so I'll just save everything. I want that number of unknown words to be 0. But actually most things I watch on Netflix now, according to Migaku, it will give you the stats, around about 95 to 99 or 95 to 98 comprehension, according to its analysis. So if it's any less than 90, I don't watch it. I'm also not watching any episodes that are over an hour. I'm still keeping it to shows that are like half an hour. So Midnight Diary, and I'm watching Kakegurui, which is about some crazy ass high school that's about gambling and savagery. And that's kind of comical. It's based on a comic, but now I'm just choosing whatever I want to watch. I'm not caring about the level or whatever people recommend. I can recognize if it's going to be too hard from the Migaku stat. I mean, if I'm already saving like over 30 words when it says I've got 90% comprehension, then I'm not going to go any lower than that, because then I'll be saving like 100 words or whatever. Yeah, and then before I go to bed, I'll watch something easier. Like after I've mined my words for that day, I'll watch something easier like some YouTube. That's kind of like my fun visual immersion, which I do like before I sleep. So that's my routine. That's what I'm going to keep doing. And yeah, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you on November 17th with another update. And then, what will that be? Like 2 weeks after that, I'll be in Japan, and I can make maybe some Japan content if you're interested in that. And that'll be getting into the final 3 months of this whole mission. So yeah, any questions, drop them down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.